All righty. What's going on?
How you doing?
All righty. What's going on? I'm good.
Okay.
All right,
Alrighty.
all right. It's on you. You can do all your introduction, let the know, get the name of the channel, all that. It's on you.
Alrighty. Thank you. Okay, you guys, I'm out here tonight by myself, but that's okay. This is The Few, The Proud, The For Real TV. And my name is Marietta Elliott, and I am your co host tonight. And I want to say thank you for Pancho, who joined us on Monday. He did an outstanding interview, and I definitely appreciate the way he delivers his message. And I'm hoping that he will definitely return. So if you're out there listening, Pancho, know that we definitely appreciated you on Monday. And also, I want to send a thank you out to the For Real team because they're absolutely awesome. And we're making progress. And I definitely, am really learning to love working with this group of people. They've been phenomenal. And of course, I have to give a shout out to my baby sister because she has been so supportive of me, the For Real team, and as well as the channel. And she's giving me all these little ideas as to what to do, how to make it happen, and I'm taking it all in. Okay, so thank you, audience, for joining me tonight. And my topic, I have all of my notes in front of me. I am so prepared. So my topic is who's responsible for this? We question all things all the time, and we've been told to do our own research. So here we go. I chose to do the theory of evolution because there's so much conversation about how we actually came here and how we were actually created. And so I just kind of thought I would, step out there and take a look at some different things and do some comparative information to what, deemed to be the truth, so to speak. Okay, so the theory of evolution per scientist / man. We evolved from monkeys, then later became humans. Don't you ever wonder about that? Since the theory of monkeys continued to go on after we evolved. And there's actually 267 different species in the world. And at the time when we evolved, since we evolved, I can't say how many people evolved, but as we were evolving, the monkeys continued to produce. And that's just my whole point. I find that very interesting with the theory of evolution. Though I'm sure there are people out there who will have an entirely different story. But as I carry on through this topic, I want to leave you guys with some thoughts. Okay, so can anybody explain their blood type? It's comparable, but it's not identical to the humans. And one thing that I found out that was very interesting is the blood that is actually very compatible with the human. And I bet there's no one out there probably really knows what animal that could actually be. Well, here's the surprise. We are actually more.
I do, but I'm gonna let you go. I just had to say that. But
Okay, we are more closer to the actual pig than we are with any other animal here on the planet. In fact, they use a lot of the pig material to repair the human bodies, such as valves and veins, those sort of things. And interestingly enough, I also learned that they are considering using the pig's blood for transfusions because the human blood seems to be not better than veins. So, for those out there that may be transfusion, I am hoping that the people out there that did not know that, make sure you're very clear about that if you're ever in a position that you need blood. If you can't get it from your family member, you got to stop and think about where is it actually coming from. So that is one thing that I found very, very interesting. And, the fact that, we are always trying to figure things out as far as, how things actually have transpired. Let's move on to my next thing.
Can I say something? Can I ask something?
What?
Look at your face.
I can't see you.
Okay.
I don't know how you should be looking.
Okay, the evolution thing. If you do more deeper research, which I have, they don't actually say that we come from monkeys. They actually say that we have a common ancestor, not that we came from monkeys.
Okay.
So you have to do I'm not trying to take the thing over, but I'm just,
Well, see, my whole point is there are a lot of theories.
Okay, hold on. Just let me finish, and then let me finish. Just let me finish. What they are saying is we have a common ancestor, not that we come from monkeys. That we have a common ancestor. Because if you want to go deep with evolution, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna just say this and I'm gonna leave it alone. If you want to go deep with evolution, which I have already did deep research on it. I just never did anything on YouTube with it yet. But they actually said we come from fish, from the water. And then they evolved. See, what they're talking about is evolving. People evolved. Do you understand about evolving?
Mm-hmm.
How we evolve?
Mm-hmm.
Evolving is all the different races. That's evolving. That's evolution right there. But what they saying about what you're talking about with the monkey, they never said you have to do the research. That's Baldwin. Do you have Baldwin's research there? What research do you have there?
I just went on the internet.
Oh, okay. So Baldwin is the one that came up with that theory. Okay, his name is Baldwin. And what he was explaining back then, this was probably 100 years ago, is that we had a common ancestor. Not that we exactly came from monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to slide that in there, but I'm gonna let you go. All right.
Well, yeah, and that's fine, because like I said, this is just theory.
Right.
The theory that I'm talking about, the bulk of the people in the world are very clear about the evolution. They have not gone beyond that, and as I was saying, that people typically have an idea as to how everything started.
Okay.
But and actually have what is actually,
on that there, I just wanted you to just know that. Is that it's what they're saying, we have a common ancestor. Not that we actually came from monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a common ancestor is? But I ain't gonna get into that. But that's Baldwin's. So if you really want to do something deep on that, you have to look up Baldwin, because that's whatever you got there, wherever you got it from, maybe Google or whatever. Remember, I told you, Google is just surface. That's not real research, okay? So I would just wanted to say that just so you won't put out the wrong information. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
So in reference to blood type, there's A, B, and O. which when we think about blood type, that is pretty much, it can be across the board for anything that has life. So in reference to the animals and human beings, whatever has life and has blood, that's something that's very common, is we all have blood. So okay, so yeah, so now that we're past the pig, I would like to talk about what the body is actually made up of. One thing that I found very interesting is that, the entire system in which we operate under, inside of us and outside, is nothing that has been or was created in a lab. And interestingly enough, there are four basic types of tissues. There's muscle tissue, nerves tissues, and connective tissues, support of the tissues and bind them together. Bone, blood, and lymph node tissues, 400 types of cells across 60 tissues, including muscles, nerves, and the immune cells. So that information within itself is nothing that has been created in a lab. In fact, everything that goes on with the human body has been looked at, has been examined. But yet and still, they have yet to say, okay, this person needs a heart. Let's go to the lab and make one. Or this person needs, a new liver. Let's go to the lab and get him one. So those are the things that I'm talking about. We always get into the physical being. But in order for us to operate, it takes a little more than just theory. Just a little more than just theory. Even when it boils down to our eyes, we have the iris, the pupils, we have the cornea, the lens, just to mention a few. But there's 14 parts all together with the eyes. And they work most times. We could never sit back as an individual and determine how exactly the eyes work and what it took to get us to the point to know how the eyes work. And at the end of the day, we cannot create the same eyes that we were born with. So sometimes we have to stop and think about, a little bit of common sense and what does make sense. And just the fact that eyes have 14 parts, I thought that was something, because I only thought about the few parts that they have. And the brain, that's another interesting organ. It's 60% fat and 40% combination of water, protein, and carbohydrates and salt. Interestingly enough, that looks like a great recipe that we could sit down in the lab, because we can pull together fat, we can pull together carbohydrates, proteins, and salts. But we cannot put that brain together and make it work and install it in someone's head. So if there's anyone out there that can actually explain the particular brain and how it works and why it works, because there's more to just the brain than just what I named. It actually gives us the ability to think and to function. And the brain has a lot of control over all the signals that go throughout our bodies and tell us, what's wrong with us, or an indication that, we're really, really ill. We need to be in the hospital. But yet and still, we cannot sit down at the lab and say, okay, we're going to make this brain. Because making that brain is bigger than life. We can always say how we came here. The egg and the sperm, and from what I researched, The egg and the sperm was here first, and then the human being came, which is pretty interesting because the egg and the sperm cannot even be seen with the naked eye. And that within itself, that was something that I've always known for a long time since school, but it's hard to believe you can't see something with the naked eye, but 9 months in the womb of a woman, it turns into a baby. Piece by piece, step by step, things are formed inside the woman's womb in order, in absolute order. And the umbilical cord is the one thing that is needed to give life, and that umbilical cord can also take life, which is pretty interesting in the womb. So that within itself, I would love for someone to really explain that's a phenomenon. To know that we can't even be seen unless we're underneath a microscope to know the egg and the sperm is there. So that's something that I just want to throw out there to put some thought out there as to how, we actually did come about in reference to being in the woman's womb. So, in reference to our brain, we know everything that it takes to make a brain, so to speak, as far as what actually is the materials in the brain. I'm going to put it that way because it's just like a recipe. And one thing that that brain does, it tells us, how to think, how to behave in ways that will shame us and will destroy you and even make you a killer. Now, how do we explain that? How do we explain the way our brain actually does operate? What does that really come from? Our thoughts, where do they really originate from? Yes, of course, we do know that environment plays a big role in how we think. We also know that the media and in actuality, before social media came along, we already had a mind to think. We had a mind to do things that were not pleasing to ourselves and to other people. And as we move into the world of today, we still have that same mind to do things that are unpleasing to other people, embarrassing to other people, degrading other people. There is something that happens that keeps us from staying in a space of doing positive things. The positive energy is out there, but you cannot have positive without negative. And there are some people in the world who have actually allowed the negative to take over. And that is something that, it's hard to figure out, because for me, it's pretty unnatural for you to want to kill someone. That is not what any human being should have the mindset to want to do, but it's out there. We could talk a little bit about the heart, because it has 7 main parts. There is the upper chamber, the left atrium, and the right atrium. And now the heart. The only thing the heart really does is pump blood, send oxygen. And when you are pumping blood and you are sending oxygen, promotes life. But at the end of the day, that heart does not have feelings. We gave that to the heart. We have given our heart feelings. But when you break it down to the science of things, the only thing it does is pump blood, sends oxygen throughout your blood, and gives you life. At the end of the day, we say that our hearts is where love comes from. That's something that we have given, the heart. And I didn't go that far to try to figure out, where that actually originated from, because what I'm trying to just get a point is the magnificence of the body and how we talk about where we came from, but there's no one who ever gets on and says, okay, we have a heart. Do we know what it takes to make that heart operate? Do we know what it takes to make that brain operate? Because it's just a little more than theory. It's more than just theory to make these things happen. So our hearts can help us do good. It can help us do bad, so we say. But is that truly our hearts, or is it our minds? Or could it be both? Because we have actually sat down and we have studied and we have tried to figure out where the human being has erred. All the way back from the beginning of time, we're always talking about what happened. But at the end of the day, what really is happening is we got parts of our body that cannot be explained, cannot be created in a lab. It took a lot of time and energy for whoever to come up with the human body. And we won't necessarily say the human being. Let's just label it as the human body. So, one other thing that I wanted to talk about is when we need heart transplants. I don't know how many people think about the heart and where it came from and how it is only going to do nothing but give you life temporarily. And people don't realize that, taking a heart from one person and giving it to another, people may not realize how the person who receives this heart pretty much is going to have to go on a lot of different medications in order to suppress your system to accept that heart. Why? Because it is not your heart. Man has decided we're going to extend someone's life and give them a heart. So now this person is probably on 20 different medications, and at any time, the body can totally shut down and say, look, that's not my heart and it doesn't belong here. That is the luck of the draw when it comes down to transplants. That's that human being trying to take a little credit for what he really has not done. We got a lot of knowledge. We've learned a lot of things, but at the end of the day, that man did not design the human body. He only got the microscope and labeled the pieces of the human body. That's what they did. The human body was already there for whenever it came about. We didn't add anything extra. The body was made so perfect that in actuality, we should not need to take medication. We should be able to return to the earth for whatever is ailing us. We should not be in a space where we are living unhealthy lives, because the human body was totally designed to repair itself. And that's not by man's hands. That is not by our hands. It was already put in place, and we, as human beings, had to discover that. I think that's pretty interesting information. And it's actually something to think about it. I'm sure there are going to be people out there in the audience that are going to push back. Absolutely. Push back as much as you need to. Push back as much as you need to. But at the end of the day, we as human beings cannot take credit for how that body works on the inside. So, one thing that we also need to talk about a little bit in this whole reference of the human body, we as people go about our business and take so many things for granted. So what about our nervous system? If we sat down and thought about the human body, would we have thought as a human being, we need to make a nervous system? No, we wouldn't have. Because one thing that man has decided, or people have decided, is they always want to focus on the outside of their bodies. They never think about the inside of their bodies. And that's far more greater and more important than the physical outside of our bodies. We don't take care of ourselves. We do so many things that are going to destroy us on the inside. And I was told by a woman who, she has gone on now, but she said to me, if you take care of your body while you're young, it will take care of you as you age. So, and I totally believe that. You know, I'm always talking about me at age 64, and I'm loving it. I'll be 65 in September this year, and I'm loving it because I'm more in tune now with taking care of myself. There is nothing greater than taking care of myself. Is first and foremost and up front. I have to take care of myself. I gotta have a body that I can live in and want to live in. So for those out there in the audience, you know, human beings have to stop and think about, what do they really want for their own selves? Are they going to take credit for their own demise, or will they blame the system? Keep in mind, we were designed to heal ourselves and overcome the obstacles that we are faced with as far as our health is concerned. And now here's one other thing that I found amazing when it comes down to our cells. Does anybody out there know how many cells are in the human body? Well, anybody got an idea? Well, I'll tell you. We actually have 30 trillion cells in our body. 30 trillion. 30 trillion. That's a lot of cells. And believe me, there is no human being that sat down in the lab and said, hey, I'm going to create 30 trillion cells to put inside of this human body. No one did it. And on top of all that, these cells actually have names. They actually have jobs to do. They're not just cells floating around in our bodies. Each one of those cells have a job to do. And people do not understand or know about this, that cancer comes from cells that have not died off. Our body was designed to produce these cells, and as they start to age out, the young cells are supposed to come along and destroy the old cells. So there are no cells in our bodies that are supposed to get old. And if they get old, they turn into cancer. And the new cells are so afraid of these old cells because they become bigger than life. Then they become afraid of them, so they stay away from them, and the cells continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. And then there you have the tumor. And people, we have to understand this too about those cells in the tumors and cancer. I'm not a doctor. I've just been in the medical world for a long time. I've done a lot of research because I'm very fascinated with how the human beings actually do operate on the inside. I would love to be in a space where I could watch an autopsy or actually participate in an autopsy, because that's who I am. But one thing that we have to think about is that cancer does not hurt until it runs out of space. So what I mean by running out of space is it grows to a capacity where it starts infringing upon different nerves, different organs, different muscles. And when that starts to happen, that's when cancer gets discovered. The first couple of cells that are in your body, you never feel them. You never feel them until they get bigger than life. And how does that happen? How? That's a malfunction in the body. That's a malfunction in the body. And the fact that it's been discovered, it's been there all along. It just got labeled. So that's something to think about. Also, I would love to say that there is not enough time in the day to create 30 trillion cells. But yet and still, when we're born, I won't say when we're born, at the time of conception, at the time of each conception, miraculously, those 30 trillion cells are there. And most of the time, they're normal. Yes, we do have some situations where there are abnormal cells. But most of the time, these cells are very normal. Every one of us is given 30 trillion cells at conception. And they continue to work and do what they need to do until you leave this world. Interesting, right? Okay, so now, one other thing that I wanted to talk about is, the actual 315 organs within the human body, counting bones and tube. Each organ does have a different function. And if we were sitting down in a lab, going to create a human being, we would not know where to start, because each one of our organs have a specific job. A specific job. We came along with the heart, the brain, the liver. The liver is so important. It gets rid of all your toxins. It filters your blood. And there we go with our kidneys. Our kidneys filter all the toxins out of our blood. And it's just such a nice cycle, because once the kidneys have cycled through and cleansed the body, then you start to urinate. It's like simultaneous. We can't take credit for that. We wouldn't even know how to sit down and make a kidney, one that's going to work. But we do have a dialysis machine. We do have dialysis. That's a man-made kidney. That is a man-made kidney. And interestingly enough, I don't know how many people know anything about dialysis, but dialysis is very brutal on the body. Very brutal. Because It is so unnatural to have your body, the blood to be drained from your body, sent through a machine, cleansed, and put back into the body. Very unnatural. And for those who are out there on dialysis, my heart bleeds. My heart absolutely bleeds for those who are on dialysis. I know people personally that have been on dialysis, and it was grueling. Absolutely grueling. Why? Because it's a very unnatural thing. And for the human beings, most people will do anything to live because they are afraid of death. So, what about our digestive system? We can put all kind of things in our mouths and into our stomachs, and our body has to go through a process to break it all down in order for it to be beneficial to us and our entire body, for inside as well as outside. Now, what man could have actually thought of that one? I mean, the digestive system and the intestines and the lower bowels and all of those things, the way it's put into the body, and it comes organized. It comes organized. It's not something that we have to figure out. It forms in an organized manner, and it has a way to take care of everything that we need in reference to eliminating. I don't know how many people realize this, but our immune system starts there. And that is the very reason why, we have to be very careful with how we take care of ourselves, what we put in our bodies. Because every time we put things in our body that doesn't belong, there's the opportunity to destroy the response. And interestingly enough, our bodies are durable. It can definitely take a beating. It can take a beating because that is the way it was designed. But there becomes a point in our lives where the body will start to push back and say, "Fool, I've had enough of that." And you're not going to do nothing about it. I've had enough. And then when your body starts to push back, it starts to get all the other organs involved with the pushback. Because if the liver is pushing back, the kidneys can't operate like it needs to. The kidneys are going to go into overtime because it can't filtrate the extra waste that is coming through there now because the liver is not functioning. Human beings could not have created that system. It didn't just happen by chance. And so, see, these are the things that, I really want us to just stop and think about what actually really does go on in the body and how it actually does operate and all of the ins and outs inside of our bodies. Never mind anything else. We need to get answers as to how does it actually work? How was it actually created? We know how we were born, but we never do an examination on our ins and outs inside of our bodies. So, the respiratory system. Man, we could live without a lung, but you cannot live without no lungs. And you have to have lungs that are operational. When we take a look at the picture of the lungs, and you really look at the lungs, it's amazing. It is amazing how those lungs have all the veins, have all the different things that it needs to supply oxygen. And when it supplies oxygen, good oxygen, the heart responds in a very positive manner. But if the lungs cannot provide the right type of oxygen, we're going to have problems. And the heart will push back. It'll either go into an arrhythmia or it'll go into a full-blown heart attack. Either way it goes, the lungs have their own system. And we have to figure out, how did that happen? It's an idea. You know, man is forever trying to decide this or that. But does he really know? Does he really know? So, of course, I talked a little bit about, the reproductive system. And that within itself is another phenomenal organ for both man and for the woman. And that is not something that just happened by chance. Those parts were perfectly designed. When you think about a 7, 8, 9 pound baby coming through the birth canal and being able to go back to the natural state before the baby was born, that right there within itself is nothing that man did. We call it natural. But let's look a little bit beyond the natural. And let's think about how exactly did we come to those spaces in our lives. It didn't just happen. How did it happen? So those are the things that are I could go on about the human body, but the circulatory system as well is something else that's really phenomenal. Blood flow means everything. If there is not proper blood flow to any part of our body, guess what, people? It's going to die off. It's going to die off. And those are the things that I just kind of wanted to go over. And we as human beings, we think, we know, we have so much control. But at the end of the day, how much control do we really have? If we had so much control, how many of us out there would actually get old and die? Or would get sick and die? Or get into a car accident and die? Or refuse to do a medical procedure so that they could die? They choose death over living. How many people out there are like that? It's not many. So if we had so much control within our own selves, we would say, no, I'm not going to get old. I'm not going to get sick. And I'm going to live as long as I feel like living, especially because I have no sicknesses. I have no aches. I have no pains. My body is still as if I was, we're going to use the age 21 years old, but I'm always talking about myself as 16. But if we could get to the 21-year-old phase in our lives and continue to age as far as numbers are concerned, but our physical being wouldn't change. Who doesn't want to look like they looked in high school or fresh out of high school? If we had so much control, why do we choose to not do anything different except die when it's our time? We can fight, we can go against the grain. And sometimes we as human beings, because we have fooled around with the doctors so much, they really say and think they've had a second chance in life. But let's get real, people. We don't want to lose the ones we love. And we want to stay here to see things change if we had choices, if we had options. We actually don't. We have a direction because our minds tell us we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But at the end of the day, death is what we fear. And if we had so much control, seriously, would we choose death over life? No. That is the reason why we have the dialysis machines. That is the reason why we have these surgeons. That is the reason why we have these hospitals. This is the reason why we take these certain ailments, and we'll go through chemotherapy, and we will go through multiple surgeries because we're being faced with death. And that is not what we want. And if we as human beings had so much control, if we are faced with cancer, we would say to ourselves, no cancer, you must go. And then leave cancer behind. We can't do that. We cannot do that. And obviously, there is something that has more control over any given situation than mankind. Mankind. So we've actually been on here for quite a while, and I don't know if there are any comments out there, but and hopefully, if there are some comments, we'll get to the comments. Raheem, do you see comments or no?
Yes, you have a couple. You got Ryan on here.
Okay. Well, hello.
Okay, I'll put them up. Just hold on. I'll put them up.
Okay.
And then I'll read them.
Thank you.
Okay. He says, hello, Top and Miss Elliott.
How you doing, Ryan? Thank you for tuning in.
Okay. And then I put up, great show.
Oh, well, thank you. Did you thumb up the video?
I already thumbed it up.
Okay, thank you.
I already thumbed it up. And I'm looking on here right now. Somebody thumbed you up on Facebook too.
Oh, how nice is that? Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, I see it on the screen. Somebody thumbed you up on Facebook too.
Okay, well, I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that.
Okay.
So yeah, so that is the whole reason why, I chose this, and that is the reason why I said, who is responsible for this? This meaning this great, phenomenal body that no human being has created it, can take ownership in it. Everything that we know about the human body is because we got in and studied it, not because we got in and made it. So those are the things that we have to think about. And, I myself, I've had a plan to live to 98, but I want to be well. And if I'm not going to be well, I can die tomorrow. I can die tonight. I have surrendered to death because I'm a caregiver. And there is one thing that a lot of people don't understand is there's one thing to die. But to be dying before you die is a whole different beast. It's a whole different beast. And that can be agonizing. That can linger for a long, long time. I don't want to be here in that space. I do not want to be here in that space. And if you're not a caregiver, there are a lot of people who will choose life. will choose life over every single circumstance. I have no reason to fear death, because if I have had to deal with this world and I've had to survive, I've had to go through so many changes, I've been through hell and back. Being dead has got to be a place of relief. A place of relief. And we all have a different idea. And I always say to everybody, we may all be surprised. We may all be surprised at what we may have to face. So, what I have to say to the people in the audience, can you figure out who is responsible? Who is responsible? Let me make sure I covered everything in my little notes, because I went through a lot of trouble to get these notes down. Yeah, I went through a lot to get my little notes together. And I have a lot of work here. And I hope that I put, some information out there that's going to make people think. Think about some of this stuff. I want to make sure I get to the... So, my closing statement. So, who is responsible for this? Is it man, a God, or something far more greater? So, whoever is in the audience, within your own self, how you feel. And one thing that I want to say is that at the end of the day, we can choose whatever we choose in reference to man, a God, or something greater than that. But one thing I want to emphasize is no matter how you answer that, it's your own personal decision. And that's okay. It's okay. But I want us to think tonight, will this confirm what you believe, what you know, or will you embrace your comfort zone? It's okay. We just need to respect each other. We just need to respect each other. And that's what's far more important than anything else, is we got to have a mutual respect for however people feel at the end of this video. And I would really appreciate it if some of the people in the audience would send a comment to me and kind of give me how you feel and why you feel like that. Because, we have all arrived at a different space in our lives. And I myself have arrived long time ago as far as what I believe. Because at the end of the day, there is so much in the world. Think about the insects. How many insects are there? How many animal species are there on the earth and in the sea? And you better believe this. The ants don't try to mate with the bees. The ants don't try to mate with the snail. All of these creatures here on the earth mate with their own kind. You don't see a giraffe trying to mate with the elephant. And interestingly enough, people may not even think about this. As animals, they only mate when they're in season. Other than that, mating is not anything that they want to do every single day. It's only in season. And most of the animals are twice a year. Twice a year. That's something else that we need to think about. Why is it that the rhinoceros is not trying to mate with the elephant? And how come the horse is not trying to mate with the cows? There is a reason. Does anybody know?
Okay, well, you got a comment here. Ron say, if you get comfortable, you will get left behind. Things always changes.
Yes.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. You said things mate with, you know, what they're supposed to mate with. So when it comes down to people, do people supposed to mate with whatever people? Or do you supposed to stay with your own kind? Because the animals, what you're saying is the animals stay with their own kind.
Right. And so you see, that is what makes things so unique. You know, I myself think that your own kind could be a human being. Because there are people in the world who sleep with animals. But you know, your own kind, as far as another human being is concerned, whether you're black, white, green, or purple, when it comes down to being in love, a lot of times we can't choose that. We don't choose that. It just happens. It just happens. You know, and there are people in the world who definitely believe in sticking with their own kind. But there are no more pure races in the world. That's been over with years ago. Years ago. Everybody's race has been mixed and matched. Mixed and matched. And of course, absolutely, it's our choice. But we should not ever make our choices so horrific that you're hurting someone else, because that is a problem within itself. You know, there are people in this world who are not comfortable with sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And then there are some people who believe in sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Okay, but I think you're getting away from my question.
No, we're saying sleeping with their own kind, human beings.
You ran away. Okay,
I'm
hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Make with human beings. That's what I'm saying. It's our choices, what we choose. And I said, you know, when it comes down to love, we can't say, oh, I'm not going to fall in love with that person because they're green. Or I couldn't dare spend time with this person because they're red.
Okay, but hold on. I didn't ask you nothing about love, because a lot of times when animals have sex, they don't do it because of love.
No. It's because they're producing.
Okay, so that's okay. So I'm not putting emphasis on anything. I was just saying, you know, with your own kind. You understand what I'm saying? So what would be your own kind? So you said with the human race, right? Okay, that's the answer right there.
Yeah, because this is not a personal thing for me. It's about, you ask the question is pretty broad, and it will always boil down to the individual as to what they want. You know, as far as a mate is concerned, it's very personal, right? You know, and you know, when it comes down to your own kind, so to speak, we tend to not look at our own kind as far as specific race. Most people look at what someone can do for them.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say that.
Hmm.
I was going to say that because everybody don't get married or be together for love.
Right.
Okay, when it comes down to especially women, women look for security.
Hmm.
Am I not right?
Well, of course, it should be that way, but
Okay,
it's
no,
not.
I'm just not. No, no. See, there you go.
It should be that way.
I'm just. Let me finish, then you can have it. Just let me finish my sentence. And I'll just say there's nothing wrong with that because that's what she's supposed to look for. She's supposed to look for security. You know, um, the man supposed to have his place and she supposed to have her place. But she's supposed to look for security. But I'm just saying when you said, mate. So is it a difference between mankind and humankind?
Well, mankind and humankind is the same thing. It's just
Okay.
different words.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Unless you,
that's
unless you,
that's the same. So that's the same.
yeah. It's about a human being. Yeah. Do you know something different?
I do, but I'm not going to go into that. But go ahead.
Okay.
'Cause it actually means two different things. But go ahead.
Okay. So yeah. So it just boils down to the um whatever you choose, however you believe, however you feel. Um, we have to respect that. That's part of what happens with people is the respect for how people feel is not important to some people. It's not important, and we need to, especially as a Black race, we need to realize, that we are entitled to respect. Though there are people in the world who do things that are not nice, but we should give respect when respect is due. And we don't know enough about that anymore in this world, about giving respect where respect is due. We're so far away from that. We're so far away. So that's pretty much all I really had to say, is that, at the end of the day, we can choose whatever we think has caused and is responsible for us in the Pacific design. There's one thing that outside of the human being, there's several things that happen in the world that are pretty phenomenal. Such as this turtle that I have. Every day I look at this turtle and I am just in awe that she's waterproof. She is actually waterproof. Like, she can be land or sea, and she's so connected so tightly to that shell, to somebody, something, someone, some higher something invested some time in that, because that is an amazing piece of work. And on top of that, she's very intelligent. She is very intelligent. So if we get away from human beings and we start thinking about the rest of the world and how, a little tree comes from a seed, a flower comes from a seed, trees know to come back time after time after time. Bulbs, they know to die off when it gets fall and regroup for the spring. So there are a lot of things that happen in the world. Just as the sun rises, the sun does set.
So who's controlling that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. There's a higher power. I mean, if we go beyond the sun and the moon and the entire solar system and all the stars out there, and we've done enough research to know a little bit about what's out there. And there are so many things that are totally out of our hands, yet and still, man wants to explain it all. And that is the very reason why, my focus was on the human being, because the physical makeup of the human being and how we see ourselves is one thing. But when we get inside and start examining everything that it takes to make us work, we have to look outside of ourselves and realize that is not something that we did. And there are spaces inside the ocean that are so deep, you can't even get in there. But there is life there. So we got a lot of phenomenal things that have happened in the world that continue to happen in the world. If the sun chose not to go back up and stay down, it would be over with. It would be over with. If the sea did not get replenished and the lakes and the streams did not get replenished, we would be dead. So those things continue to cycle, and continue to bring life. But if all of a sudden all these things stop happening, that brilliant Einstein man that thinks he has it all together, he'd be in deep trouble. He would be in deep trouble.
So why you say I'll be in trouble?
No, I said man, human beings.
Go ahead. Nothing. Go ahead. You didn't catch it, but go ahead. You didn't catch it, but go ahead.
I what? I didn't catch it.
You didn't catch it, yeah, but go ahead.
Well, Raheem, we talked about this earlier.
No, it was a little joke, but you didn't catch it. Ain't nothing to talk about. Don't make it something. It was just something that you didn't catch. That's all.
You promised me.
Okay, go ahead and be quiet. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm going on mute.
That man just can't help it. He gonna act up some kind of way. I thought I had it under control, but obviously not. He's such a little busybody when it comes to me. He can't help himself. He cannot help it. What it is, I don't know. But anyway, we're not going to get off the beaten path because we have a lot to think about. I don't know how many people have always thought about it in the sense that I presented it today. Something to think about. And I just touched base with a few things that go on with the body. There are so many other things that have been put in place, and not by chance. And I'm hoping that my audience is going to just stop and think about what I'm saying. And are you clear? Are you clear as to what you believe, what you know, what you have accepted? And maybe you might do a little rethinking, because I know there are so many people out here that just actually take things for granted. But this is just the way it is. And that is where our downfall has been. Because we've taken so much stuff for granted. And it's not that simple. So I want to say thank you to my audience once more. This is The Few, The Proud, The For Real TV, and I'm Marietta Elliott, of course. I was your co-host for tonight. And, I enjoyed being here tonight and giving you guys a different way to look at some stuff, because I think that's important. And, I'm totally into finding peace in the valley, finding respect, coming together as a village, learning how to love one another, learning how to respect one another, learning how to embrace the good in your life. The good in your life. Because we have it. We all have something good in our lives. Embrace it. And by all means, whatever it takes for you to get through your life or crises, hold on to it. Don't ever let anyone take it from you. Hold on to whatever you need to get you through your hard times, get you through your good times, because sometimes, a good time can get your butt in trouble. And give you some direction, give you some faith, put you in spaces where you can look back and say, whoo, I can't believe I survived. Hold on to it. Whatever it takes, hold on to it. Because if there comes a point in your life where you think you need to change what you feel and how you feel, you'll do it. You don't need no one to influence you. You'll do what you need to do for yourself to carry your life on and to continue into a space that's going to make you even happier or more productive. So there we are. So for those that are out there tuned in, thumb up the video. Please thumb up the video. I definitely appreciate you being here tonight with me. And Ron, you're always there. You are like the best support system. And I sure do appreciate you. And I'm hoping that my baby sister is out there and perhaps Liz. And, there are several people out there that just view our channel and don't necessarily comment. They just take a look at our material, which is good. As long as you're there, that's what's important to me. As long as you're saying, she made some sense tonight. I like the way she presented this. That's important to me. And if there's something that you guys want me to talk about, you need me to address, by all means, put it in the comments. And specifically say, Marietta, this is what I need from you. Marietta, this is what I need from you. Can you deliver? Well, I'll try to deliver. There's only so much we can do on the video. But if I can help anybody, any families out there, leave a comment. I will be there for you. Definitely be there for you. So once again, this is The Few, The Proud, The For Real TV. Thank you for joining me tonight. Definitely appreciate my audience. And tune in tomorrow because we are going to be live again tomorrow. And rumor has it that Pancho's going to join us tomorrow. But I'm letting the cat out the bag early because he was just really wonderful. And I definitely want to see him. And Raheem is taking out a lot of time to put some different things together. And I definitely appreciate that. He's a wonderful man. And I will love him for life. So, and that's a good thing. He's been everything. And he is definitely trying. He's a little rough around the edges. And I've been working on that for 30 years. So he's going to get it eventually. Definitely get it. Don't forget to thumb up the video. And for those out there that have not subscribed to our channel, please take the time to subscribe to our channel if you can. And you guys have a great night. Thank you again.
Okay, you have Ron says this has Ron says this has to be the best channel. Y'all keep it up.
Oh, well, how nice is that? Thank you. We trying.
Okay, I'm just gonna make one more comment. You what we need to do is when it comes down to the body, connect the body to the earth. Because if you look at the body is about 75% water, same thing as the earth. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. The body is pretty much made up just like the earth is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
before they started messing with the earth,
Mm-hmm.
the body was made up pretty much just like the earth.
Right.
That's how our ancestors and Kemet and everything. That's how they connected to the animals,
Mm-hmm.
to the sun, the moon, and the stars. How did you think? How you think they knew where to put the pyramids at?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? That's still standing to this day, but it
Mm-hmm.
lines up with the stars.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? It lines up with the stars.
Mhm.
You know, but I just wanted to put that in there.
So I have
'Cause
to ask you, okay, with everything you heard me talking about today, how do you think those things came about in the human body?
which things?
The
Or what you
heart,
was talking about?
yeah, the hearts and the
Who
cells and all
knows? Nobody knows.
that. Okay.
You know.
Because I mean, you must admit that.
But let me put it this way. I ain't gonna say nobody knows. Let me say I don't know.
Okay.
Let me
So,
speak for me.
so I have to ask you. You must admit that all the graphic details that I talked about that go on within the human body, you must admit it didn't get created in a lab.
Oh, ain't no question.
Okay.
Ain't no question.
And you must admit that those are the pieces that people never address.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well. See. Most people. I'm gonna put it this way: the lazy-minded people. I'm gonna tell you what lazy-minded people do, and it's because they don't want to do the research. Because research consists of work. You understand me? So lazy people are just use the word God and just be done with it. That's the easy way out. No research, no nothing. You understand what I'm saying? See, when you get into the truth, people don't want to deal with truth. Truth means work. If you stay in belief, you don't have to do no work because you can just believe something. But once you get into the truth, it consists of work.
Right.
That's all.
Well, there's one thing about this material that that I put out here today. Main thing was to start the thought process.
Yes. Well, remember we said everything I normally do is just to make the people think. And when we was talking about evolution, I said his name is Charles Darwin. Not Baldwin. Charles Darwin.
Yeah, I've heard that name before.
Yeah, Charles Darwin. And he don't say we come from monkeys. That's people who say that because they never read the book and never did the research. He says that we have a common ancestor. And if you do the research, you'll find out that he's right. We do have a common ancestor. But did we come from monkeys? No. Guess what? We are monkeys. I'm going to say it again. Did we come from monkeys? No. We are monkeys.
I beg to differ.
I know you don't.
Look here. Look at here. There are more people like clowns than monkeys.
If you don't know the research, then you don't know the research. That's
like
all
I
I'm
said.
saying.
There are more clowns than monkeys.
Okay. But if you really go back and do, but see, you're not. I'm not. When I say you, it don't mean you particular.
Yes, I know.
I mean people.
Right.
It's not going to do that research because it's a lot of research. But I have done some. I spent, I say maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I was spending like 2-3 hours in the morning before I, hit the streets. and that was my mission. Was to break Charles Darwin's information down. Because I wanted to not just challenge him, but challenge myself. On how to do research. And it takes a lot of time. But you start with what you did, straight Google. We call that, Google. And WikiLink, we call that weak link. But they all are a starting point. But you got to know how to go down to the bottom of the page. I don't know if I showed you that before. You have to go down to the bottom of the page. That's where all the scholars, if they got scholarly information, it'll be at the bottom. And you have to go into them, and all of them, not some of them, all of them, and go through all of their research to see where they got their research from. So the only thing I'm saying is you have to be careful when you put information out, because your information can be pseudo information. And if it's pseudo information, then you're misleading the people. No, not you. I'm just saying, period. Okay, I'm looking at your face. Your face lets me know. Your face let me know.
Oh my God.
Okay, now I'm just that's all I'm saying. See, me, you won't hear me put out any information if I haven't did true research on it. And I ain't talking about no surface Google search. I said me. I didn't say you. I said me. The key word in there is me. Because you know why? I have too many skeptics. I have people going to check my information. I already know that. You understand? And I like that, because I go in and out of barbershops and beauty shops. They want to check my information because they want to prove me wrong. So when I come back in, they have a look on the face like you do right now.
You know what? You're trying to read me all kind of ways.
Because they can't. But once I show them how to do the research, then they can't dispute it. But I have a couple sisters and some young brothers that tell me, thanks, man. They tell me, man, I went to college, and they never show me how to do research like you do. Because it's a particular way to research. You got to go to primary sources. If it's not a primary source, you throw it away. It's pseudo. Okay. Peace and Black Power, everybody. Have a good evening. So what? Come on. So
right.
What are you sewing about?
Right.
What are you sewing about? I'm just saying, you just have to be careful when you give out the information to the people.
Well, I just want to say one thing to you. The theory of evolution has been around long before I came into the world. And as soon as you pull up on the internet, that's the first thing that's been there forever.
What? Hold on, stop right there. Stop right there. That's why they put it there first, to make you stop. See, that's the trickery. That's the trickery what I was telling you. That's why you have to go to the bottom. But go ahead.
But see, this is the thing. The theory of evolution and the Big Bang Theory is as old as Methuselah. But at the end of the day, I believe or feel like that is there because they really don't have a real answer.
Well, you got one. Wait a minute, hold on. You have one. G-O-D. That's your way out.
No.
That's your way out.
No, not necessarily. And were you afraid to say the word now? What happened to you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
What did happen to you?
Because I don't really use that word.
Well, we're going to leave that alone.
I don't use that word.
We're going to leave that alone then, okay?
That's because that's a word that was given us through slavery. So I don't use that word.
Well, like I said, man, a God, or something far greater. And if we could tack another thing on with that, then that's beautiful. Maybe someone in the audience can tack something else along with that.
R-A-H-I-M.
Ooh, almost slept. Raheem, didn't you promise me you were going to behave yourself? Didn't you?
This is the Few, the Proud.
You promised me you were going to behave yourself. And now you start all over again.
I hope everybody had enjoyed the show. It was a good show.
You promised me.
Are you ready to close this out?
You promised me.
Are you ready to close it out?
You promised me before we came on you were going to behave yourself.
I'm going back on mute.
Well, here we go. I guess straightening him out last week didn't help him. He's back on track. He needs another straightening out. And that's what he's going to get. I don't mind. Once again, thank you for tuning in, you guys, and have a great night. Raheem, we can go now. Hello? Okay. Good night.
Great show, great show, great show. This is the Few, the Proud, the For Real TV. Right Black got you, Right Black got you. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And peace and black power. Tune in tomorrow. Everybody have a great night.